Bred to Win, brought to you by Arrowfield, the home of four-time champion sire Schnitzel.
Hello, I'm Caroline Searcy. Welcome to another edition of Bred to Win, coming to you off the back of a sensational TAB Everest day and Caulfield Guineas meeting. Coming up on this week's show, all the backstories to the major races and one you simply don't want to miss, the wonderful Suzanne Philcox, who's responsible for some of the greatest thoroughbred names in the stud book, on how she comes up with racehorse names, previously for the Ingham's Woodlands stud and now for Darley Godolphin. Plus another great story of the love of the horse in Arrowfield studs, horse who made you love racing. First though, plenty to recap in our Ozhorse news.
The gates open, they're off and racing.
What an incredible weekend of racing and breeding results we have to wrap up after an outstanding TAB Everest day in front of 46,000 race fans at Royal Randwick and 3 Group 1s on the huge Caulfield Guineas meeting.
Think about it in front from I Wish I Win. Think about it!
The $20 million Everest was of course won by a son of champion racehorse So You Think in Think About It. A great combination of training skill from Joe Pride and bloodstock knowledge in his buyer, proven thoroughbreds Jamie Walter. The 5-year-old ran for slot holders Newgate Farm and again was a great result for a large group of syndicate members. He's now earned nearly $11 million and won 11 of his 12 starts. He was bought from Newgate by proven thoroughbreds and Joe Pride for $70,000 at the 2020 English Premier Yearling Sale. His dam Tiari is by Flying Spur. As mentioned in our So You Think special on Bred to Win recently, the win by Think About It has taken the 10-time Group 1 winner to the top of the Australian General Sires table. So You Think still is one of the most popular stallions in Australasia, standing this season at a fee of $99,000. And again, he's proven to be a great option of producing racetrack stars suited to the huge amount of big money races around Australia for 3-year-olds and upwards. As well as So You Think's success, it was a great day globally for Coolmore Stud, with their late champion sire Galileo leaving the winner of Everest Day's opening race, the ATC St Leger, as European visitor. The James Ferguson trained Land Legend proved too strong over 2,600 metres for Bon Ho.
And Tino moves up to attrition.
At Caulfield, the Group 1 Toorak Handicap was won by attrition, a 4-year-old Entire by Coolmore's son of Galileo Churchill. Attrition was bred by a hugely successful South Australian breeder, Harry Perks, and was a $180,000 English Melbourne Premier Yearling sold by Mill Park Stud to trainer Mitch Friedman. Attrition is from Queen's Kiss, who's also thrown the stakes winner Royal Rumble, while Churchill himself is a 4-time Group 1 winner from the Stormcat mare Meow and stands this season at Coolmore's Australian base in the Hunter Valley at a fee of $22,000. Harry Perks also bred another stakes winner by a Coolmore sire when Air Assault was successful in the listed Hill Smith Stakes at Morfordville. He's a 3-year-old son of Justify from Elegant Eagle and was a 2-year-old winner of the SA Sires Produce Stakes. He's from Zabeel mare Elegant Eagle, dam of Group 1 winner Go Indy Go and Group winner SA Raider from the family of Ha Ha. While Perks had a 3rd stakes winner on the day, Arctic Glamour by Frosted from the Galileo mare Far Too Flashy, winner of the listed Reginald Allen Stakes at Randwick.
And here's where he's impressive. He's pulling right away.
Back to Coolmore, and Justify also sired one of global racing's most significant weekend winners, as the colt they're comparing to Frankel, City of Troy, won the Dewhurst Stakes at Newmarket. The Aidan O'Brien trained colt is from the Galileo mare Together Forever, a Group 1 winning 2-year-old herself. City of Troy's Triple Crown winning sire Justify is back at Coolmore's Jerry's Plains base again this year and stands at a fee of $77,000.
The mare's going great guns, Fangirl.
The Group 1 on the program at at Royal Randwick, the former George Main Stakes. Now, the hugely talked about King Charles III was a well-deserved success for the Ingham's Sebring mare Fangirl. The $5 million prize was secured by the 5-year-old 2 starts after she won the Wink Stakes. Fangirl is an Ingham homebred from their own little surfer girl, herself a winner of the Reginald Allen, the Angst and the Civic Stakes, and descending from Oaks winning champion filly Special Harmony. The Group 3 Gloaming Stakes, a lead up to the Spring Champion Stakes for the 3-year-olds in a fortnight, saw success go to the Waterhouse bot-trained Raff Attack. A colt by Deep Impact stallion Satono Aladdin, he was bought from the Rich Hill Stud Draft at last year's NZB yearling sale for $150,000. His dam is a daughter of the Galileo mare Mead from the family of La Volta. Satono Aladdin side ATC Oaks winner Penny Weaker and top New Zealand 3-year-old Tokyo Tycoon, and stands at Rich Hill Stud in New Zealand at a fee of $45,000 NZ plus GST. I Am Invincible stayed within $1.5 million of So You Think on the Australian Sires list, with a Quinella in the $2 million Group 3 Sydney Stakes. Dynamic Syndication's mare I Am Me beat home Airman, having come through the English Premier sale for $210,000, sold by Sedgenho Stud. She's from the One World Prawn Cocktail family of Royal Academy and Stormcat.
Front page got 5 lengths clear.
The $2 million Kosciuszko went to 7-year-old Magnus Gelding Front Page, successful in back-to-back editions of the Country Feature. Now trained by Matt Dale in Goulburn, Front Page is from the Bella Spree mare Stacey Lee. The $1 million Silver Eagle was won by a daughter of former champion sire Snitzel, Vienna Princess, a $400,000 Magic Millions yearling sold by Barrowmill Stud to Peter Tighe's Magic Bloodstock. Jerry Harvey also bred Renaissance Woman, the winner of the Group 3 Angst Stakes, to round out the day at Randwick, a daughter of his own Westbury Stud sire, Reliable Man. Harvey also bred and part owns Alligator Blood, now a 7-time Group 1 winner and successful in Saturday's Caulfield Might and Power Stakes.
But it is all Alligator Blood, a 7th Group 1 coming up.
Alligator Blood, a great success story for Vinery Stud and their half-brother to Black Caviar, All Too Hard, a 4-time Group 1 winner himself. And the final group race to cover from Caulfield was the Group 2 Scalacci Stakes, won by Asfura, a daughter of Flying Artie. She's from the I Am Invincible mare Golden Child, while her sire relocated this spring from Newgate Farm to Blue Gum Farm in Victoria, where he stands at a fee of $16,500. In sad news from Sedgenho Stud, the mother of Winks, Vegas showgirl, sadly died at the weekend at the age of 21. A dual stakes winner herself, the daughter of Success Express stallion Al Akbar not only produced the 25-time Group 1 winner, but also Group winner El Divino and the recent winner Deep Impact filly City of Lights and Time of My Life, with all 5 of her foals to race being winners. And the English Ready to Race sale was topped by Blake Ryan's Capitalist colt from Galia's Dream, with Hong Kong's Willie Leung of Magus Equine spending $400,000 on the colt, who breezed up in a time of 10.74 seconds and was originally bought for $70,000 at the English Classic sale. The sale, however, saw a high pass-in rate, and you can contact the English team if you're interested in any of the horses who failed to sell.
It's still Griff by a length of V8.
Widden Stud and Burton Gay Vieira were celebrating the win of Griff in the Melbourne 3-year-old championship, the Group 1 Caulfield Guineas. The colt is by their 4-time Group 1 winner Trapeze Artist and is a real Widden product, being from the Sebring mare Chateau Griffo. He was sold by Widden Stud as an $80,000 English Premier yearling last year, originally bought by Kavanagh Racing Stables. Now trained by Kieran Maher and Dave Eustace, Griff was coming off a win in the Group 2 Stut Stakes at Moonee Valley. His dam is from the 8-time winning Commands mare Moulin Rouge. Trapeze Artist, a son of 4-time champion sire Snitzel, is from the Woodlands studbred mare Trap, named by Suzanne Philcox, who will feature next on Bred to Win. Trapeze Artist stands this season at Widden at a fee of $55,000.
On the Neds Caulfield Guineas.
Time for a break on Bred to Win. Coming up, the Cambridge Stud Performance of the Week and an unmissable story as we catch up with Suzanne Philcox and find out how she came up with some of the greatest racehorse names in history.
but he's smart all right. Animo.
The Cambridge stud performance of the week was the win of Almanzor's Animo at Hastings on Saturday. The 4-year-old remains on track for the $1 million 4-year-old contest on Karaka Millions Night in January. He was a $100,000 NZB yearling sold by Kilgraven Lodge to trainer Glenn Old and is from the fast and famous mare Our Famous Eve. Almanzor, a son of the global success story Wootton Bassett, is looking an absolute picture at Cambridge Stud in New Zealand this season and stands at a fee of $50,000 NZ plus GST. For years, racing fans have enjoyed the 2-year-old season and the new names emanating first from the Woodlands, Ingham era and now Darley Godolphin. They were created by the genius who is Suzanne Philcox, and some of these names, Octagonal, Lonhro, Forensics, are guaranteed to stay in pedigrees for generations to come. Suzanne, it's fabulous having you here at Crown Lodge at Warwick Farm in Sydney. Of course, you've had 36 years now working at Crown Lodge, basically 22 with the Inghams and 14 with Godolphin. And you've been responsible for so many of our great racehorse names in that time. You must be proud. I mean, when you sit back and you look at, say, race results or races named after champion horses that you've named.
Yes, I do. And also when I'm even at the races and you look at the pedigree of other people's horses and they're connected to horses I've named. Two standouts, of course, are Octagonal and Lonhro. But even one like Waikikamuka, who was a gelding, but he's still famous and he's always known for his name. He was a good racehorse, but it's his name that made him famous more than anything.
Waikikamuka, just the leader over Carry the Star.
How did you name Waikikamuka?
He's by clear choice out of Empress Choreo, and I do not like names that would be like Clear Emperor or Clear Choreo, or joining the two mother and fathers together. The mare had 3 horses before that which were legless. I wrote it out for Jack Ingham and gave it to him to show, and he said, "What's that, Dal?" And I said, "It's pronounced Waikikamuka. It's a fantasy place in New Zealand. There is no such place, but it's 4 Maori words put together that just comes out as, in English, Waikikamuka." And we always used to say, in Australia you say you're going on a long trip, you're going beyond the Black Stump, or the Backaberg. In New Zealand it's going to Waikikamuka.
Fantastic. Well, you just mentioned Jack Ingham and his famous Dal. And you did name Hello Dal, who was a good filly as well.
Absolutely.
Some great names that are named after the people you've been involved with.
Yes, yeah, and I think that makes it more personal for everybody, certainly in the company. Hello Dal she was a sweet mare.
Saintly and Octagonal. Beedman throwing everything at Octagonal. He gets there. Yes, Octagonal wins the Derby.
And Octagonal, as you said, of course, that was just a sensational name. Zabeel out of 8 Carat. He was a 10-time Group 1 winner. And Lonhro too was the fabulous one. Tiny but perfect, of course, named after Tiny Rowland. The company stock exchange code was Lonhro, but with the R and the H in a different order to the Lonhro we know. Why did you change the spelling?
Deliberately misspelt because Lonhro, the London Rhodesia Mining Company in London, were famous for being very litigious. And last thing we needed was them coming after us using Lonhro. So that's why he was HRO at the end, just to avoid that. But apparently I had several friends who worked in London, the City of London, who said that the company always followed his races. The London Rhodesia Company, and they every time he won, they said they could hear the cheers from their building.
Yeah, well, he won the 11 Group 1s and is now, of course, he was a Horse of the Year, one of those rare stallions, champion stallion and a Horse of the Year as well. Sire of Piero, Denman, Kementari, Swayness now, mares such as Beaded, Heatherly, Obsequious, and as you say, these names are all in so many horses running at the moment.
Absolutely, and also it's very rare that Octagonal, Horse of the Year, Sire's a Horse of the Year, Lonhro,
So command, strategic,
Doomsday.
unworldly, doomsday.
Unworldly, yes.
Unworldly was wonderful. Quest for Fame from Spirit. She won the T-Rose, the Furious and the Flight. And of course she did die too young. But that again was a perfect name for a champion filly.
Yes, it was. And she was such a lovely personality herself as well.
It's Nature Strip and Bivouac who explodes.
Names that you've named here at Darley, of course, through the era of Godolphin Darley. Dazzler, we know, the mother of Bivouac. We'll have a look at her latest offspring too. Epaulette, Treps, of course, who's the dam of trapeze artists. So again, that's that ongoing legacy into another, now a stallion.
Yes, exactly. And the Trep is a German for staircase. So marching, crawl, old man, and then trapeze later on, yes, as a filly.
So how does it work here at Godolphin? Obviously, you have to check with the stud book and check with the Registrar of Racehorses through Racing Australia. When you're going to name your own horse, you can sort of get an idea of how long ago a name was actually used. But tell us the process. Some people that may not have owned a horse might be really interested in what you actually have to do to secure a name.
Basically, a horse's name is taken for 17 years. If he's a gelding, after 10 years, you can have a duplicate of that name. So if you've got Sing on one horse and he's now over 10 years old, you can have Sings or Singing. The mares are blocked for 25 years. Stallions are for 50 years. If the horse was a Group 1 winner like Octagonal or Lonhro, they are blocked for 100 years. So that's what you're looking at. And you can go on the Riser Racing Australia site and there's a section there, name availability. And you can put in your name that you want and you can see whether you can get it or not.
And how much time does that take? I mean, how many of the names, because they're very clever names that you come up with, we'll touch on in a minute, but how many of the names do you go, hang on, that's taken, that's taken, that's taken? It's quite a process.
A lot of names. And it does make it a lot easier that you can check. I would say that, like this year, I've named 114 horses, or yearlings, of which probably 60 I would have had to go back and back and back, checking, no, can't have it, go again. That I've probably worked on that one horse for 7, 8, 9, 10 names before I got one that was available to use.
Well, this is a very special filly, isn't it? This is the half-sister to Animo by Blue Point, who's doing a fabulous job already in the Northern Hemisphere. But how wonderful from Animato. Of course, we know she was a Group 1 winning mare. And hasn't she done a great job as a broodmare?
Yes, she has. This one's name is Blue Willow, from the China pattern of the blue lovers on the bridge. So
yes.
Hopefully it'll mean something, won't it?
Yes. And how long do you spend a name like that to actually work out what you want? Does it just sort of come to you, or do you have to do a lot of research?
I was sort of working on the Blue Point side of it, so I went through quite a lot of blue horses, or blue names, and yeah, then I have to send the list to Joe Osborne in England, in Ireland, sorry,
yes.
And he has to approve which ones he likes. So,
yes.
and he quite liked this Blue Willow for her, so yeah. But that's where she gets her name from.
Yeah, and I believe Joe actually named Animo, though.
Yes, he
wasn't
did.
You with
yes,
Animo?
No, yeah, Joe named him. He's after a small village near where Joe lives in Ireland.
Yeah.
And that Animo is only spelt with one N. No, two N's, sorry. The horse is one N, the town is, the village is two N's, yeah.
Fascinating. So how did he come to have the choice of the name?
Well, he's the boss.
Right, fair enough. And we've just filmed the gorgeous Animo at stud. I mean, what a wonderful racehorse he's been. But what does it mean to you when you see them, you know, when they're first retired to stud? There's all that potential of, can they be the next, you know, Lonhro and a champion sire, or, you know, an Exceed and Excel, or where are they going to sit? How do you see a horse like Animo going as a stallion?
I think he'll do very well, because we know that his grandsire, Street Cry, is extremely successful. His own sire, Street Boss, is doing very well, and particularly with females. So Animo is a bit of a aberration, if you like, because it is the females that have been doing better. But I think he'll do great as a sire.
But a lot of the horses that you're naming, the mares might not have won the Group 1s themselves, but they have been able to. I mean, a horse such as Dazzler, of course, we looked at Fabergé by Exceed and Excel, the full relation to Bivouac, but Dazzler herself, she's done a great job, but wasn't a Group 1 winner.
No, and not really a top racehorse either. But but perhaps that's helped because she hasn't been raced that much, so she's got more to give her foals. So we'll go on that theory anyway.
We saw a beautiful colt by Blue Point out of Essaouira called Caravanserai, a really sensible, lovely colt. You know, you look at this horse and think he just has everything from pedigree to type to attitude to be a really good horse. But Caravanserai, how did you arrive at that name?
I had actually been reading a book recently about Lawrence of Arabia, and the word caravanserai was used in that several times with the Arab movement for Ibn Saud. And so I thought, oh, that's a good name. And Essaouira, the dam, is in Tangiers, or along the North African coast there. And so that's where the caravans do travel, between that and Egypt. So, yeah, that's how it came up.
And what about, so previous, you know, Elise Astern from her, who both were multiple Group 1 winners?
Because Essaouira is called one of the windiest places in Africa. And Elise is a wind. Astern, well, that was actually, I was so desperate for a name at the end there. I'd gone through about 40 names for that horse, and in the end, I just looked up what's available on the stud book. Didn't matter, didn't have to mean anything. And Astern, so no real meaning for his name, but just desperation.
And another full brother to Bivouac is Hello Phenomena. And again, we had Dizzy Gillespie out here talking about, you know, they all have the similar sort of bulbous kind of eye. But tell me, that name too, Halo Phenomena rather, how does that come about?
Well, I didn't name him. Kate Lindsay, who's one of the girls at Kelvinside, she named him, sent it in, and every now and then we try to include other staff members' suggestions. And so she got one in.
Lonro from Wordcraft, of course, she's a daughter of forensics as well. Polyglot.
Yeah, the ability to speak several languages, which is Wordcraft, I suppose.
Yeah, and forensic detail in it.
Yes, well, she was out of True Blonde.
That's right.
And if you're checking somebody out and you're going through the body, the corpse, you're checking whether the blonde was real or not. So that's forensics.
Fantastic.
Octagonal, a 3-year-old fighting back, and Mahogany are locked together. Mahogany Octagonal as they go to the line. Octagonal.
He was a very quiet horse, quite babyish for a long time. Even as a 4-year-old stallion, I was leading him around out there, and I'm not a horse person. But he was the sweetest personality. But the thing that got him was that at the 1994 Caracas sales, Trevor Lobb and John Hawkes were there buying for the Inghams, and Trevor had Octagonal out of the box probably 3 times to look at him, and he went and got John, and he said, you've got to come and look at this horse and tell me what you think of his eye. And they both agreed that the eye was the key to the horse, because it was so intelligent, so calm, and he was just, he just spoke presence, but he was not an aggressive or not a overt type of horse at all, and that's why they got him, why they bought him.
And we've seen Elise, the original one, Essaouira's dam, so grandmother of Elise and Astern, at Darley Woodlands in the Hunter Valley, and it's great to see this generational breeding on the dam side, isn't it? To build a broodmare band, and for you, seeing those names all the way through, it's a really important thing.
I think it is, because you know what you're going to get, basically, from by the time you've got your grandmother, by the time that third foal comes along, or as a racehorse, you know what you're going to get, probably. And that's important. If you're a serious breeder, you want to be breeding something that is going to either have stamina or speed, or both, but also have the will to win. And that's the important part. And a mare like Essaouira, although she herself was unraced due to injury, I believe, she's passed on that will to win to all her progeny.
Yeah, it's a great staff though, isn't it? There's a lovely feel around, you know, Darley with the studs we were at a lot, but here at Crown Lodge and Osborne Park, it's a great sort of vibe, isn't it, amongst all the staff?
Yes, there is. And that's because of the horses. They all love horses. They want them to win. They want them to be successful. And they do their best to make sure the horses are there. Yeah. No, it's a wonderful place.
Such a great part of racing, the naming of thoroughbreds, and it was wonderful to catch up with the best in the biz, Suzanne Philcox. Coming up after the break, on Bred to Win, Arrowfield studs, horse who made you love racing.
Caroline, I was probably pretty lucky to come through racing at a time where there was a lot of good horses produced in Australia through the mid-90s. Grew up with racing on the back straight in Kalgoorlie. Dad was always a punter, so always at TABs and involved with gambling and had a steady interest in racing. But when I really first got involved, heavily involved, was the mid-90s through the whole Saintly, Octagonal, Nothing Like a Dane, Might and Power. A lot of very good horses, high-powered horses, really captured the imagination. A lot of big crowds at the races. Yeah, really enjoyed watching the sport. Got involved as an owner in the late 90s. Second horse I had was a winner, fortunately, and that sort of sparked my involvement as an owner. And had horses for the last 25 years really. Got involved with breeding in the early 2000s. Big passion of mine and a couple of the other guys that are in the Ram Racing Syndicate with us. Very heavily involved with breeding now over here in New South Wales, up in the Hunter Valley at Riversdale Farm. Nick and Jazz up there really look after us. Really enjoying our time breeding horses. Had an enormous amount of fun with the Ram Racing guys and the journey we had with the Quokka in Western Australia earlier in the year. Had a great success there with Overpass. Put a bit of a plan together. Didn't really think we could execute it, to be honest with you, but we managed to. James Ross and the guys at the ATC were very accommodating to us early in the piece, and we find ourselves here on Everest Eve, partnering up with the ATC, which is an absolute pleasure. Absolutely fantastic to be here with Scott Darby and Darby Racing, the team of owners who we had the pleasure of engaging in Perth earlier in the year. Had a lot of fun with them. Bjorn, who's made us all feel really welcome. The electrifying feeling just to see all that high-level racing unravel on TV and wonder how you can be a part of it. We've had the pleasure of being able to do that through Perth Racing and Rava with the Quokka concept earlier in the year. Being able to put a team of people together that love racing, love everything that goes with it, the good time on course, the party, the enjoyment that it brings everybody. That's been a real pleasure to get that group of people together, bring them to New South Wales, bring them to the biggest race on turf. Not really thinking we'd be able to ever have the opportunity to participate in a race like that, but we have, and we're here, and really looking forward to it.
That is Bred to Win for this week. Don't miss next week's final show of the season with more great thoroughbred stories from another huge weekend of spring racing. And we follow up on my own story of breeding a foal for the sales ring and the ups and downs involved. That's next week as we wrap up the season. I'm Caroline Searcy. I look forward to seeing you then.
Bred to Win, brought to you by Arrowfield, the home of 4-time champion sire Snitzel.